No. Why you owing me? I'm free. Don't owe me, motherfucker. You ain't gonna hear my name in no indictments. Why did you sound like you've been waiting the whole show to say that? You sound like you was in the front row of the balcony. Okay, he gets a drink. I'm gonna save he gets a drink. Ask him. You been to a Diddy party? I told you I'm gonna ask him. No, I mean I've been to parties where Diddy was at, but I ain't been to a Diddy party. I never went to no after either. So I got invited one time. I didn't go, and yeah. Well, it was crazy because I was at this party. And I was talking to this one girl. I just got to LA, man, but the party was all right. The girl was like, I was like, yo, they all going? She goes, no, I'm trying, she wanted to. And I was like, all right. So who knew a one night stand saved my that night, you know? Like when Diddy got busted, I found her on Instagram. Hey, I just want to say I appreciate you. You look like you've had a really good life. She got like 3 kids. She's married now. Congratulations on everything. And thank you so much. That's why one night stands are important, ladies. You're saving lives out here. I never saw that girl before that night. I never saw her after that, but we f***ed that night. Thank God. I had to get snipped up. I had twins last year unexpectedly. I mean, I'm not gonna say unexpectedly. I nutted in her. I mean, that's what happens when you nut in somebody. You get them pregnant. I hate when people say that dumb shit. That was unexpected pregnancy. I was like, did you nut in her? What do you think was gonna happen? Unexpected is when you nut in an esophagus or a belly button. That's an unexpected pregnancy, but not the vagina. Oh my God, I knew I should have pulled. I fucking knew it. That pussy was good though, man, couldn't lie. Because when I felt it happening, half my brain was like, pull out! Gary, get the fuck out of there! The other half was like, no, this shit feel good, we risking this. Oh my God, wow! And you know, guys, we're so stupid, we'll try to rationalize in our own brain to try to convince ourselves everything's okay. Because I remember I nutted, you know. And then an hour later, I'm in the shower. I'm like, you know, trying to think like, yeah, probably shouldn't have did that. And when here's the thing, when she called me and told me she's pregnant, I did the math. I was like, oh, we was in Italy. That's when I nutted in you, you know? So we was in Rome when it happened. So I remember because I was in the shower about an hour later, and I was in my brain, I was like, we should be good. We're American. We in Italy. We had a time change and customs, and I got my passport stamped. We should be good. I don't think 2 Americans can get pregnant in Italy. Yeah. I remember when she called me too, she's like, Gary, I got some news, I'm pregnant. I don't get mad about a lot of shit. I just be like, life be lifing. So I was like, for real? She's like, yeah. And then I called her like, she called me like a month later, and she goes, you're not gonna believe this shit, it's twins. I was like, okay, you're doing a lot right now, for real, I'm trying to be cool. Boys are here now. They're always black, brother. That was a dumb question. He said, is she black? They're always black. That was so stupid. That was the dumbest question I've gotten all year. Was she black? You see how he tried to get me caught up? I won't be the only white guy. If I did get a white girl pregnant, black dudes be like, that sellout motherfucker. I knew he wouldn't sell out. White motherfucker got a white girlfriend. Are you guys married?
Yeah.
How many years?
18.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Well, I'm trying to do the math. So you got married in 2006?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you guys date before you got married?
2 years.
Oh, 2. So you met in 2004. In Columbus?
Cincinnati.
Oh, you met in Cincinnati? Really? That's where I'm from. We're at in Cincinnati. You was at my show when you met?
You only met before that. We went to your show. We were dating 20 years ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Where was the show at? The Funny Bone?
Cincinnati.
Really?
Or Newport.
That's crazy. And did you guys that night? That night? I like to know if my fans are happy when they leave the show. I don't want them going back arguing. You. I'm going to be like, no, we're going back to see Gary. He's like, bro, I get pussy every time I go see Gary. Gary's in town. You look at, I know why you want to go. You want to relive 2004. That's always good, man. I'm glad. You guys live up here now?
Yeah.
What brought you up here?
His job.
The job? You work for the university, or? Does he talk? Is he a mute? Because right now he don't give me shit. Just thinking about that pussy on the way home, man. Like, just say goodnight, Gary. Can't wait till this show's over, bro. I was a little worried at first. I was going to have to start sign language, that motherfucker. You good? I used to mess with this deaf girl. I did. I lived in D.C. and she went to Gallaudet University. She was on the volleyball and basketball team. She was a beast. She had a fucking ass, body, but she was deaf. So I would go see her at the dorms, and this is before cell phones. I was 17, 18 years old, and then we'd have to. She used to call me. I was in the Navy. She used to call me on the phone, and there was a payphone in the hallway. So it'd be like, this was the whatever deaf hotline number. There's so-and-so wants to speak to Gary. And so I got on there. So everything I said, the lady, I could hear her typing, and she would read it back to me. But it was fucked up when she called, because I'd say something like, yeah, you crazy. And then the lady would be like, ha, 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 your turn. It's like, what the f***? You fucking up the joke. And then, here's what's crazy. So, we really dated for like a month. We did. That was my girl for a month. But I went to one of the basketball games, one of the male games, Gallaudet, one of the male games. So there's no music, pointless. It's the quietest fucking game you will ever go to. You can hear the scoreboard clicking. Click, 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 click. And then this one brother came down and did like a windmill dunk. Wha-pow! And all the kids, they can't hear, they don't know how they sound. So they can feel the vibration off the vocal cords, because the vocal cords work. So they all took them plastic Coke cups, and they raised it up, and they just screaming it. And it's the most god-awful sound you can hear. When you get like 1,000 people, warn a motherfucker. You can't just be sitting in silence and then 1,000 people take a cup. I was mad at her. Because I looked at her, I said, you ain't never made that sound when I've been with you. I've had you bent over your bed. You ain't never made the sound. I've been whispering. I never knew why I got quiet when I had sex with her in the dorm. Like,
Because nobody could hear me. I could have been loud as
you like that gap? I did good, ain't it? Nobody could hear. I enjoyed her, but man, that was different. It was different.
when you silent, mama. You got to tap her.
I still enjoyed it, but it was different. I ain't gonna lie. You gotta tap her for everything. You got to taking me back, boy.
Back down memory lane.
That's why I always like coming back to Ohio, man. Just bring back a bunch of memories for me. First girl I ever fingered was in Ohio. Shouts out to Brenda. Not gonna give her last name, but damn. That's a big day. It's a big day in a young man's life, you know? Like I think women, maybe losing your virginity is probably, that's a big day, I'm assuming, but men, the virginity's big, but I think the day you finger bang a girl is almost as big as the day you lose your virginity, because that's the first time you're like touching a woman's private part. Because I'll never forget, it was like the first week of school, my junior year. You know, I was a late bloomer, because somebody went down, I know I heard you. I was a late bloomer. Because up until my end of my 10th grade year, it was like nothing popping off of my body. It looked like the movie Powder. Then me and Brenda, we ended up in the gym, and we just started making out. You know, and I'm kissing her, and my hand went up her shirt, and that's the first time I ever touched a titty in my life. And I remember I never went inside a bra. I stayed outside the bra. So I remember thinking, I was like, dang, Brenda got a real bra. My mom got bras like this. I've seen bras like this in the dryer. And then my hand went down the shirt, and I hit the belly button. And I started playing with the belly button. She's like, Gary, you know that's my belly button? I said, I know. I didn't. I thought I was there. I was like, dang, Brenda gonna have tiny ass babies. How's he gonna push a baby out of this tiny little hole? I looked up, lunch was almost over. I said, I gotta make a move. So I put my hand down her pants. I had no idea how the female body worked. I didn't know when your fingers are down there for a few seconds, the weather's gonna change dramatically. Because I was like, ooh, you leaking. You leaking, Brenda. Your broke. You gotta go see the school nurse. Something wrong with you. What the f*** is this? Did you get bit by a spider? What kind of Peter Parker pussy you got, Brenda? I just remember walking around the hallway all day just intrigued with my hand. I went to football practice, I couldn't put my shoulder pads on. My boyfriend went, Gary, what's wrong? I go, I put my finger down girl's pants, now my hand's sticky and shit. He was like, Brenda? Brenda was a hoe, man. Oh, bad Brenda. Funniest part about this whole story. 15 years later, I'm back in my hometown. I'm at Cracker Barrel getting something to eat. I'm just sitting there playing that peg game, trying to figure out how the f*** you get one. All of a sudden I hear, oh my God, Gary Owen. Guess who my goddamn wish was for? Motherfucker. Brenda. I looked up. She goes, you remember me? I said, you know I do. What the f***? I forgot. I finger banged you. Yeah, I remember. That was stupid on her part to ask that. She was like, you still ain't what? Every time I saw her walk by, I'd be calling for her, hey, Brenda, can you come here for a second? I get a little more water. Have a drink. I'll see you later, Brenda. Good seeing you again. That was fun.
That was a long time ago.
It's so funny too, because I grew up Southern Ohio, but it was funny when I was, it brought back some memories when they was talking about the Haitians moved into Springfield, and it's black people is what they're really saying, you know, like, I've never seen an Asian or Latino Haitian. But that's really what they're saying. I don't think it would have been tripping if a bunch of Ukrainians moved in. But I remember when I grew up, I went to a predominantly all-white high school. We had like 10 black guys out of the 4 grades. They were our core black guys. But then you'd have black guys move in and out of our school sometimes. It was funny because we had a boys' home that went through our school, so it was called the Bunker Hill Boys' Home. So if anybody got in trouble in Cincinnati or Dayton, chances are they end up at our school for a couple months. And we never knew who the white guys were because there were so many white people, but we knew who the black guys was. So it'd be f***ed up because like our football team be really good for like 3 games. And then we get to practice on Monday and be like, where the f*** did Jeremiah go? No, he went back to Cincinnati. We'd be beating the f*** out of the all-boy Catholic schools.
And losing in vocational schools and
And then the boys' home they got free lunch. So they got the little gift card. I call it a little card. And then one of my buddies from high school was Paul. He was one of our core 10. You know, he was the black guy. I was always there, but we'd always ate lunch together. And then I realized he was getting all these. I realized what he was doing because he'd go up and get his lunch. He'd have all kinds of shit on his tray, and he'd look at the cafeteria lady around the register. He'd go Bunker Hill. And she's like, all right, go ahead. I go, she didn't ask for this ticket. And I'd be right behind him like, Bunker Hill. She goes, you got your ticket? I was like, you ain't asked the black guy for his ticket. I get so mad at Paul. I was like, you give me some of them tater tots, motherfucker. Trump's entertaining, nothing else, you know, like he just says what he wants. He just goes off script, you know. How you feel about the economy? They're eating dogs. Oh. As soon as he said that, I was like, damn, he don't give a f*** about the Asian vote. Kind of funny, he was talking about a bunch of Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. You know, there's at least one Chinese restaurant owner like, they eat the dog too. It's just us. The worst part about it is, as soon as Trump said that about the Haitians in Springfield, the media just flocked to Springfield, Ohio, and interviewed the worst white people you can interview on the planet. I've been to Springfield. There's some decent suburbs, not who they interviewed. One dude had no front teeth, sitting on his fence, looking at a bunch of Haitians like, I hate them. I ain't seen my cat in 3 weeks. What? Completely embarrassing. And he didn't even know why he hates him. Why don't you like him? I just don't. This guy's a man of few words and thoughts. I just don't. What the f*** when you... Springfield's not that big. I don't know why you wouldn't want a bunch of Haitians to move in. I didn't understand the drawback. I was thinking, God, just let them really integrate into the community, and then about 12, 15 years, the sports team should be way better. Who don't want a little Patrick Mahomes running back there? Same guy, like, I hate him. Well, your daughter don't. You're missing your cat, but they found her cat. Because you know that's the one they're going to get. The one guy, I hate him. For sure knocking the bottom out of his daughter pretty soon. What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
They asked me, they said, where you want to film your hour special? I was like, Las Vegas. Where else? It's one of the best days of my life have been in Las Vegas. You know? Remember my first time in Vegas? I ran into Nate Dogg on the street. I said, you had the greatest rap lyric ever written. Lick my balls. That's the best rap lyric ever. Lick my balls. That song came out, I was in high school. I ain't know girls were licking balls. I was still trying to get a blowjob. Like, they lick the balls too? I called all my buddies up. Like, we gotta get to the West Coast. Why? Girls are licking balls on the West Coast. And he said, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. I was like, you lick my balls, we together. I'm not sharing you with nobody. You my lady, forever my lady.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. You can listen to this on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/GaryOwenCom, or you can go to iTunes, search Gary Owen or United We Cast, or just put hashtag Get Some and see what pops up. It's either going to be my podcast or a porn podcast. I'm guessing. We had the NFL playoffs, the national championship game, which was amazing. And we had the Golden Globes with the Oprah speech. But the big topic that I think trumped just about everything, and it's not about Donald Trump, is the H&M ad. There was an H&M ad, which is a clothing store. And unless you've been living under a rock, they had a little black kid, and he's in a hoodie. And kid could have been more than 8, 9 years old. And they had coolest monkey in the jungle on the hoodie. And if it would have been on the white kid, I don't think there would have been any fuss. But the white kid had another hoodie that said something else, but it was animal reference. And you know, but they put the coolest monkey in the jungle on the little black kid. And it was a shitstorm. And then everyone's saying H&M is racist and how could this happen? This is just my uneducated, no college degree opinion on what happened. But I am pretty smart when it comes to race relations. And I'm pretty smart when it comes to how things slip through the cracks, so to speak, and why people don't catch things. What I think happened personally is I think they probably had an array of hoodies. I don't think they was like, okay, we're going to give the black kid the coolest monkey in the jungle hoodie. I think what happened, and this goes to more minority hiring, honestly, and more minority, human resources. You need more black people basically in human resources, because this shouldn't have got to that point where it was advertised and nobody caught it. So to me, H&M had a lot of white people that work for that company that made these decisions that have no interaction with black people or don't pay enough attention to black culture to realize that this was going to be offensive. And it's not just one person. It had to go through a chain of command. Someone just didn't just come up with that and then print it and put it on the black kid. It was definitely not on purpose. It was, I can almost put money on it. It was just a bunch of white people in a room coming up with cool slogans. You know, kids like the jungle, they're probably thinking of the Jungle Book and Curious George. And they say, oh, let's put coolest monkey in the jungle. Everyone likes to go to the zoo and look at the monkeys. I mean, I always like the monkeys with we called them bubblegum butts with the pink booties when I went to the zoo. Those are my favorites because it was funny because it felt like he was like, ooh, we're looking at his butt and it's pink. And I mean, I went to school with black kids when I was little and they like the bubblegum booty monkeys too. And so what I think is it goes to a bigger problem with it just shows how separated we are as a country and how out of touch a lot of people are that are in these positions. And I mean, if I would have worked there, immediately I'd have been like, you know what's going to happen, right? Like if I'm not in a position to get fired, or if you guys are really going to value my opinion on this, don't put that hoodie on the black kid. And I would have advised, let's come up with a different slogan. Let's do coolest lion cub in the jungle. Let's do coolest anything, coolest snake in the jungle, anything. But there's no way I'm going to put coolest monkey in the jungle. And then they put it on the black kid. I went, oh, how did nobody catch this? That means the photographers, the makeup people, the printer, it's just everyone. It just goes to a bigger problem at H&M that says, you guys need minorities at your company to catch this stuff. And there's just no way they did this on purpose. There's no way knowing the backlash that's going to come from that. It is a direct result of being out of touch with a certain part of society that you probably, you haven't valued their opinion at this point. Well, you're going to get it now. And I guarantee you, H&M is going to start making donations to certain black charities. And I guarantee you, to make this right, H&M is going to start hiring more black employees. So if you want to look at the silver lining in all this, that's where I see it coming from. But I don't think they did it to be racist on purpose. So that's just my 2 cents on the H&M fiasco. That's how I took it. Probably got a bunch of old white people too that are in charge. But I was just like, oh, ow. And not sure what if the kids' parents have chimed in.
And until the controversy came out, we did not know that there was such a T-shirt. Either of us can remember who was at the photo shoot at a particular day until the thing came out. Yeah. That's when we realized, we have an issue at hand. I wouldn't see such a connection to anything other than my son modeling a shirt. And until the controversy now, with the whole furore that is going on, then you kind of look back and wonder if you had noticed it, what would be our initial or my initial response to it. It is not an overreaction when it comes to racism. Everybody should act differently based on their own opinions on what racism is. I know what racism is. I've been at the front. I have had racist remarks directed to me firsthand. Even with the name monkey, I've been called a monkey before on a cruise ship, and my reaction was the same as the world is reacting to me right now. But to put the T-shirt and the word monkey with racism, maybe that is not my way of looking at it. I'm just looking at Liam, a black young boy, modeling a T-shirt that has the word monkey on it. And I think everybody should respect different opinions based on racism.
I don't know. I just, it's always what I say, the risk versus the reward. Like when people have told me I could say the N-word on stage and get away with it, I said, nope, it's not worth the risk for me to say the N-word. No matter how funny a punchline could be, I'll never say it, because I always say if there's 5,000 people in the audience and 4,999 people have been like, Gary, we're cool if you say the N-word, and I say it on stage, the one person that's offended is the one that's going to make all the noise, and that's all the media is going to go to, is that one person. And that is just it's not the same, but it still goes to, it's just not worth it. You got to know when you put the word monkey or any kind of insinuation of a monkey and you put it on any black kid, black person, there's going to be backlash, and a lot of it. So just stay away from it. It's just not worth it. If the hoodie feels good, the fabric feels good, you could have just put coolest kid in the jungle. That's all you had to put. The coolest person in the jungle. I was just, I was a little taken back. I think H&M is out of touch with a certain segment of society. That's what I think came from the H&M thing. Because even when I was in the military, we used to go through, what was it? It wasn't racial. I think it was racial sensitivity training, because you got when I was in the Navy, you had people from all different backgrounds, religious backgrounds, racial backgrounds, economic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds. So we had to go through, it was like a 2 or 3 day course. It wasn't nothing crazy, but they basically taught you what's too far and what's not. And there was a story, and I don't know if it's true or not, but there was a story that they told us about. There was 3 black guys and a white guy shooting pool right after boot camp in one of the barracks. And the 3 black guys were throwing out the N-word to each other, blah, 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 blah. And then the white guy, who they said was from Nebraska, never been around any black people, he said it like, yo, take your shot, N-word. And the 3 black guys jumped him and beat the shit out of him. And come to find out, the white dude just didn't know. He just didn't know. It wasn't around any black people, so he thought they were saying it. He could say it. Now, here I am 25 years later after hearing that story. Do I think that happened? Nah, I really don't. I think they just said that's a good story to tell, to let people know what to say and what not to say. I remember, I didn't know, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I don't know if Asian people are about to get mad at me, so I'm not going to say it. But I was at a wrestling meet, and we had an Asian guy on our wrestling team, and I said it. And he looked at me and goes, I can't believe you just said that. I said, what do you mean? And then he said, that's basically like the N-word for black people. And I was like, really? And I really didn't know. And luckily, me and that guy was so cool that he basically just educated me right there on the spot. And I was like, oh, so I never said it again. But yeah, I just think it was sometimes you're in awe about how out of touch some corporations can be. To be a $1 billion corporation, to be that successful, knowing all different kinds of people are buying your product, and to not know that was going to come back at you. That lets you know the people that were in charge of that certain promotion, that certain hoodie, are, I guarantee you, all white and all have very little to no black interaction. Any interaction with black people, very little. And it also tells you the lack of minority management at H&M to let that just happen and not even realize it. It's kind of mind-boggling. Because people say, a lot of white people say, I got black friends and how many black people was at your wedding? How many black people have been in your home for dinner or dinner parties? I even remember my dad one time when my sisters were playing soccer, and they had to be 9 or 10. And my dad works at FedEx, and he works with a lot of black guys and all that other stuff. But now my sisters are on a select soccer team, and they had 3 or 4 black girls on the team, and they had to do a road trip somewhere. Let's just say Big Bear or Lake Tahoe, something like that, where all the families came together and they stayed together. So my dad ended up, my sisters, I guess, were really close with one of the black girls on the team. So my dad and my stepmom and my 2 sisters, they end up staying with one of the black families, one of the black girls' families, and they doubled up and got a house for the weekend. And my dad came back, remember, goes, oh man, Gary, it was so cool, man. We had so much fun, and we had no problems. None. No problems. So he had a good time, and he loved the family, and they're still friends to this day. But he said, and we had no problems. And I was just thinking, would he have said that if that was just a white family? We had no problems. I'd have been like, I don't think he did. Now, and my dad is real cool, not a racist dude, obviously, got the mixed grandkids. Clearly he's not like that. But when he made that comment, I was like, oh, I think that's probably the first time my dad has ever been around, a black family like that, middle class, girls on the same soccer team, and had to spend 3 nights in their environment. Not that they're at his house. He went to their house and stayed, or, they made the arrangements to stay. And it was just funny because he was so everything was great. Blah, blah, blah. The girls won the soccer game. We had so much fun. And we had no problems at the house. None. It was just good. We had good conversation. But that's how some white people think is, they don't realize what they're saying. And black people do the same things too. So it's just H&M, take this as a wake-up call. that you're going to have to hire more minorities, and you're going to have to take into account the people you offended, and you got to make it right somehow. Send those hoodies to Nicaragua, just like you send the Georgia national champ hoodies and t-shirts. Send those hoodies to Nicaragua, and then tell them to wear them inside out. Say, nah, just wear them inside out and backwards, because then Monkey would read just pronounce monkey backwards. The other big news was the Golden Globes, and all the women wore black in solidarity of all the victims throughout all the years of women getting basically abused and taken advantage of to get parts in certain movies and all the sexual harassment cases. I personally have never seen it. I've never seen on any movie set, any TV set. I've never seen anybody abuse their power or been rude, pretty much. I'm not going to name off one director, but there was one guy that went off one day, but he didn't go off on one person. He went off on the whole cast. He just went out, and he did it a couple times, but he never singled anybody out. He would just go off on the cast. And I was like, whoa, that's a side you don't see on Hollywood, Inside Hollywood, or Oprah, or Ellen. I was like, oh, he has another side to him. So, but he never singled anybody out and went off. He would just go off on the cast, so to speak. But I've never seen those horror Hollywood stories. Even guys that I worked with that I heard rumors about, I still didn't see anybody like rude to me or go off on me. I've been in this business long enough. I've seen guys show up messed up on drugs before, and they got through the day somehow, and but they were still cool, because I've heard some stories about certain actors out there. They're like, oh, you don't work with him, or she's a bitch, or he's an asshole. But I just personally, I've never seen it. But I try to be cool with everybody on set, and I even try to talk to those people that they say you might not want to talk to. Because I remember the first time I was kind of alone with Ice Cube on Ride Along. We were just kind of sitting next to each other in our chairs, and I tried to go to where they go. So I knew Ice Cube liked the Lakers. I knew he liked the Raiders. So I just, hey, what do you think the Lakers going to do this year? And it just started a conversation about sports. And that's what opened it up. When I met Wendy Williams on the set of Think Like a Man, I never met her before. So I just was just like, so you like LA or New York better? And then it just started a conversation. And I knew she was on the radio in Philly. And we just started talking about traveling in cities. So the good thing about being a comedian is we can kind of adapt to any situation, because one, we're, a working stand-up comedian is well traveled. So we've been to every city just about in the country, every major city you should have been in at some point. So you always have a rapport with whoever you're talking to in a room. So if you're on set and you got an actor or actress, you can easily be like, where are you from? And whatever they say, Baltimore, Milwaukee, Boston, Atlanta, you have a story about that city. And I think it disarms people, and they feel like, oh, I kind of vibe with this dude. Because the thing about me, I'm from Cincinnati. So whenever they say, where are you from? I'll be like, Cincinnati. That's usually where the conversation ends. It's weird. Oh, okay. And it just stops. And I always call people and I go, yeah, that's usually how the conversation ends when I say I'm from Cincinnati. They might say Nick Lachey, or a lot of people don't know Jerry Springer was our mayor, but that's usually where the conversation ends when I say Cincinnati. So, but it was cool to see, it was a very female dominated Golden Globes. And then Oprah got up there and just shut it down with her speech. And now the rumors are running rampant that Oprah might run for president in 2020. Talk about a landslide victory. Man, Oprah, one, she would get every black vote, and she would get every female vote, and she'd probably get every Latino vote. So you basically got white dudes that would have to keep Trump in office, and that's it. Everybody likes Oprah. Yeah, the KKK don't like black people, but I bet you they like Oprah. But I hate black people. Oprah's different, though. That's Oprah. Like, Oprah transcends race. Like, she's not even black. She's Oprah. She's her own shade. Like, she should have her own crayon. It's not even black. It's just the Oprah crown. Because I was watching her speech, and I was so fired up, I forgot I was a dude. I was rooting on like I was a woman. I was like, talk about Oprah. Yeah, you gonna eat my pussy. You gonna, I ain't sucking no. You gonna eat my every man and go eat my. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not a female. Wait a minute, what am I talking about? I was so fired. There's been 2 people in my life that I've seen. The Oprah speech was one. The only other time I saw somebody speak and I got so caught up and I got it was I saw Louis Farrakhan speak live. And I'm so glad I did. Because one, I met him before he spoke. I was on the Tom Joyner cruise probably 8-9 years ago. And all the quote unquote celebrities, we had our own dining hall we would eat at. So people wouldn't take pictures and bother us while we're eating. And I was sitting there and this guy comes in and goes, oh man, you a funny dude, and shakes my hand. I'm like, yeah. I didn't know it was Louis Farrakhan's son. So I'm sitting here just talking to him. I don't know who he is. He's being cool. We're just BSing. And then his dad walks in and then, of course, when he walked in, all the celebs got up and they all started like, he'd go to table and say hi. And he came over and just said, hey, what's up? In his Louis Farrakhan voice, which I can't impersonate. And he was just cool, cordial and everything. And then that night, when you're on the Tom Joyner cruise, they always had a midnight concert. And it was funny. They got an ice skating rink on these boat cruises, and they would just cover the ice skating rink up. Black people ain't ice skating like that, especially on the Tom Joyner cruise. And so they would just cover it up and make it a big dance floor. And they'd always have these midnight concerts, and it was jumping, man. So this night was old school hip hop. It was like all the 90s, like Common went up, the Fat Boys went up, and they weren't fat anymore. And like Kumo D and just all the KRS-One and Eric Sermon. It was just, man, it just took you back to the 80s and 90s. I mean, it was said 90s, but it was really 80s and 90s. So the crowd is rocking. I mean, God, could I sound any more white? The crowd was rocking and they're going off. And then it's kind of over. And I'm like, that's got to be the end of the show. And then Farrakhan walked out on stage. And I'm thinking, man, why would he come out now? This is not the time to walk on stage. Crowd ain't trying to hear him right now. They're trying to party. I had never in my life seen somebody just stop a concert 75% through the concert, because there's still a couple more songs that had to be played, and literally turn the place out. I mean, it went from you're at a hip hop concert, everybody going nuts, hands up, partying, drinking, just taking you back to your childhood or your college years and stuff. And then he came out and everybody got quiet out of respect. And then he started to talk. And then in the classic Farrakhan way, he starts off soft-spoken. Then he got a little louder. And then he started having a sermon. And then he just started going and dropping like just all this knowledge. He's way too smart for me. And like, I got so caught up in his speech, I forgot I was white. Because I remember him saying, we were the first people on earth. No matter what anybody says, the white history books that they brought and taught us when they brought us over here on boats, this is stuff he was saying. He goes, always remember, like, we were the first people. We were the original man. And I'm sitting there going, yes, we were the first man. And then I looked around like, hold on. He ain't talking to me. Oh, hold on. Okay. I was like, well, we were second. I said, okay, silver medal. Like, he was second. I'll take it. Yeah, silver's good. Okay, we gonna take the silver on this. But I was so caught up. Looking back at it, I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that I got to see him speak live, because you get it now. Because a lot of people, you wonder, why do people follow certain people? So as soon as I saw Farrakhan speak, looking back on it, I'm like, I'm so glad I got to see that. I'm so glad I got to experience it. Because now every time I see him speak on TV, I get it. I get why people follow certain people. For me to hear Farrakhan speak like that, it's I can't even imagine what it must have felt like to see like Malcolm X speak, or Martin Luther King Jr. speak, or even take it back to Abraham Lincoln speaking, or Gandhi or Nelson Mandela. Just being in their presence and hearing them speak, there's just some people that just can bring you into the world and you forget everything around you. You forget everybody. And it just made sense to me when I saw Louis Farrakhan speak, I went, oh, now I get it. I get why people follow him. I get why, he's one of those guys. He just got it. He's just got it. So anyways, Golden Globes. Also, Sterling K. Brown was the first African-American actor to get a Golden Globe as a lead in a TV drama. He gave a pretty good speech, but it got lost. Everybody's speech got lost when Oprah went up there. Now, a show I haven't seen, but I want to see is Big Little Lies, because that won a lot of awards. And I've heard good things about that. That's the Reese Witherspoon show with Nicole Kidman. So I want to start looking that up and catching up on that. And I really want to see the I, Tonya movie now, because the good thing about these award shows when I watch them is they start announcing movies that might have just came out, like The Post. I mean, Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks. And they could read the phone book and I'd watch it. Some people just have it. Like, there's not too many people that could be in a movie like Castaway where Tom Hanks would just by himself. And not too many people can pull that off. Like, Will Smith kind of pulled that off in I Am Legend, but you had the zombies and everything and you had all the flashbacks. So there was action in that. And you felt like his life was in danger when the zombies came out. But like Castaway, there's not too many people that could pull something like that off and keep you just riveted like Tom Hanks did. I mean, Leonardo did it in some respect with The Revenant, when he didn't have a lot of lines in that movie at all. He was just, he was just like trying to find the dude that killed his son, basically, and get healthy after getting attacked by a bear. But what Tom Hanks did in Castaway, man. And then what I had heard was, I talked to somebody that worked on that film, and they said it was funny because they shot most of it, or not most of it. They shot about half of it, and then they had to leave for like 4 months, and Tom had to get skinny to shoot the next half of the movie. And in those 4 months, the director and a lot of the producers, they went and shot another movie. So while Tom was getting skinny, basically the entire crew went and did another movie. And then they came back and finished Castaway. That's how long it took to shoot that movie. That reminds me, when we did Little Man, that movie took like 6 months to make, because every time we shot a scene or a series of scenes, then Marlon had to come back and green screen those scenes, because they had like a little kid that had to be 6 or 7 years old, who's going to be a little person, but he was only 6 or 7. But he's the one that did all the scenes and acted as Marlon's body in that movie. So we were like, we'd shoot for a week, then we'd be off for a week. Then we might shoot for 4 days and then be off for a week, because Marlon had to go back and shoot all the scenes after we shot him with the kid, and they had to green screen Marlon's head on the little kid's body. So that movie took forever, and we shot it in Vancouver, and I'll never forget, it rained for 31 days straight. Like, for some reason, it would just start raining for nothing. And this is before I had a laptop. So I had to go down to a business center to get online. And my cell phone it wasn't like an iPhone, because we shot it in 2005. So only thing I did was play blackjack on my phone all day. I had like a burner phone for the 3-4 months I was in Vancouver shooting a movie. Talk about bored. And the ESPN in Canada, they didn't show a lot of basketball and football, because we shot it during football season. It was hockey and boxing for some reason. And that's how I got excited about the UFC, though, because it was the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, and it came on one of the channels, and I would watch it. And that's how I got to be an Ultimate Fighter UFC fan, is shooting that movie in Canada. I'm sure I would have eventually caught up with the UFC, but this is before it hit. And it was right when it was getting sanctioned. Because before UFC was just a free-for-all. There wasn't like a weight class, and people was just getting knocked out, and all this illegal shit was going on. But then Dana White bought it, and they were trying to make it safe and, almost an art form, because boxing is an art form, and now UFC has turned into sport, but it also is an art form. And it was transforming at that time. And I remember Josh Koscheck was on it. That's who he was like the asshole on the show. I remember that in the house. And he was the black guy with the blonde hair. But enough about that. All right. Alabama and Georgia. Man, talk about a game. Talk about a nutsack that Nick Saban has. He pulls his starting quarterback for the last 2 years, Jalen Hurts, And in the second half, he puts in Tua Tului Lui Tui Tui Ta Tui 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 Tui. I have a hard time with his last name. I'm just going to call him Tua. And I'm like, the kid is a true freshman from Hawaii. He comes in, and, he made a few mistakes, an interception here, pushed it. But it was funny, before that kid even came in the game, I was watching it with my son and my road manager, Brad. And my road manager, Brad, is a huge Alabama fan. And I told Brad, I said, look at his face. Look at his eyes. Before he even came in the game, I said, he knows he's the best player on the field. Even if he's not, he feels it. He feels like he's the best player on the field. And I saw him when he put on his helmet. He was like, I got this. Almost like they don't even know. They don't even know what's coming their way. And I was in awe of that kid's confidence. And if you go to my Instagram page, I was actually, when the game was over, I was making fun of my son because my son said, Dad, is that guy a true freshman? And I'm like, yeah.
Is that quarterback a freshman? Yeah, Austin. He's 2 years older than you. Get your life together. You're 17. Come on.
Roll Tide, baby.
Congratulations, Nick. Maria. 17 years old, Austin. Time to get your life together, bro.
On the college level, and yet you get to start in the biggest game
Look.
of your life.
Look.
When did you find out that you were going in?
I mean, I found out when we were in the locker room.
Austin, when he was a senior, you were a sophomore in high school.
You made the statement that, Tua, you're going to start out the second half, and, we're going to rotate the quarterbacks. See how things.
You guys could have played AAU basketball together.
What went through your mind when Coach let you know you're about to play in a national championship game?
My parents would be mad, but
You guys could have been on the same T-ball team.
first and foremost, I just like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Within
Austin,
all things
time to get saved. I need you to play football. Thank your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
It was a team effort tonight.
Nothing?
I was just giving my son some shit. But I was just like, man, I did a tweet and I said, thanks, Jalen Hurts, for a great career at Alabama, because you're not going to see the field next year. There's just no way he's going to be the quarterback next year for Alabama. The only way he plays again is if Tua really messes up. And you got to be terrible to mess up the quarterback job at Alabama, because you got, on any Alabama team now, you got at least 15 guys going to be in the NFL. At least. So that Tua kid, he should have stayed. And the Georgia quarterback, he was a freshman. There were so many true freshmen just balling. And the coolest story was the Ridley brothers. One is, I believe he's a senior or a junior at Alabama. And the other Ridley brother was a freshman at Georgia. Both wide receivers. And they got to play against each other. And I remember this thinking, man, as a parent, who do you root for? If I'm the dad, I'm getting a suite because both my sons are in the national title game. And I'm going to get liquored up. And I'm just going to be like, look, either way, I'm a national champ tonight. My son's going to be a national champ. I don't know which one. I don't even care. I'll just root for the offense. Honestly, that's the time you want to be LeVar Ball. That's the time you can be selfish. If both your boys in a national title game on either team, that's when you just start getting cocky. Like, you just root for your sons. You don't root for the defense. You don't root for the running backs. You just root for your boys because they in the national title game. And you did not hear one time Ridley's mom or dad speak. So it can be done, LeVar. It can be done. You can't have two kids that are balling at the same time and not have to be in front of the microphone in front of the media. So what a great game, though. I remember years ago when Illinois, back in like 89, they had a squad and they beat Michigan twice. And then when they met them in the Final Four, Michigan beat Illinois. And Illinois was stacked. Had Kendall Gill and Marcus Liberty. They just had a squad. Like how I got that throwback Illinois-Michigan basketball game in. Yeah, that's me. I'm a sports historian. And then, so great national title game. Really no losers. I'm rooting for the Jaguars in the AFC from here on out. The 4 teams left, I'm rooting for the Jaguars. Who I think's going to go is the Patriots. Who I want to go at this point is the Jaguars. So we'll see. Crazy stepdad story. I didn't do one last week. I got so caught up in everything. I didn't do a crazy stepdad story. But with it being football season and basketball and all these other sports, I remember my stepdad, he would tell me all these stories, and I come to find out later they were a lot of lies. And he told me a story when he was in high school. He went to a high school called Middletown High School. And that's where Chris Carter went, Butch Carter, Jerry Lucas went there. There's a guy in the NFL right now named Jalen Marshall went to Middletown. The Purdue #1 player, Vince Edwards, a basketball player from Middletown. They have a rich sports history, basically. Kyle Schwarber for the Chicago Cubs, Middletown graduate. But he told me when he played football at Middletown, Dave Parker, who, I don't know if Dave's in the Hall of Fame or not. And, remember Pittsburgh Pirates and Cincinnati Reds, Dave Parker? He played for a high school called Quarter Tech in Cincinnati, which is no longer in existence. And my stepdad said, yeah, man, I broke Dave Parker's leg in high school. He came around the corner and I broke his leg. He goes, knocked him right into baseball. And I don't know if that's a true story. And I wish, what I'm guessing is Dave Parker did break his leg because he was a hell of a running back in high school. I'm guessing he did break his leg and my stepdad just took credit for it, is what I'm guessing. Because I never saw you get recruited by any big schools, stepdad. When I go back to your hometown, nobody's acts like you're a legendary football player. So what I think is Dave Parker broke his leg when Quarter Tech High School played Middletown High School in 1969 or 1970, and my stepdad is now taking credit for breaking his leg. That's just my guess. If anybody listening to this and can dispute that, or if anybody knows Dave Parker and wants to ask him, let me know. My stepdad's number was 40. He was number 40 on Middletown High School. And so, and that's the thing, there wasn't any film back then like they have now. You got Huddle and all the others. So you have no way to dispute it anymore. You know what I mean? I guess I can say whatever. You know what I mean? I knocked Ken Griffey Jr. into baseball. I never played him. I'm lying about everything. All right, y'all. Well, this is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast, and we'll see y'all next week. All right.
Hometown comedy star returns for his first headline performance, his first time in the Taft Theater.
Gary Owen's been traveling America with his comedy for more than a decade.
And he's also starring in his own docuseries on BET called The Gary Owen Show. He exposes his family, all that stuff. Gary joins us now. Gary, thank you so much, buddy, for coming in.
How is this station not named after you by now? This should be Lomax 12.
Let me tell you.
We got changed 3 letters.
You've been here a while.
I have been putting in the request.
Come on, man. You interviewed Forrest Gregg in Super Bowl 16. I was there. I saw it. You know what I mean? He was like, Ken Anderson, this new rookie. He was the one that announced Cincinnati's got a football team. Guess what?
Bob
got a new squad.
Just drafted Bob Johnson.
Been here for a minute.
Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Come on, man. You was playing some Pete Rose bets, weren't you?
Well,
I never realized who the liaison was.
Shh, don't tell.
He did work here for a while.
Well, I can't believe this is your first time at the Taft.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I've done the Funny Bone numerous times, and it was in Newport and Liberty, and then I did the Aronoff, the music hall, but I've never done the Taft. And by myself, usually I'm with people, but now I'm just by myself doing the Taft.
You're
so
big.
It's good. Yeah. And I planned it on purpose. I planned it because I wanted it to be on a Saturday right before Monday Night Football. So I had it planned that way. So when the Bengals schedule came out, I called my agent and I was like, let's do Saturday at the Taft and then go to the game on Monday. And the squad can come out. The Bengals can come out.
That's good thinking. That's good thinking.
Yep. So any single ladies looking for a come up, they're going to be in the building. There's a lot of young practice squad players trying to make the team right now. I'm talking about the girls and the guys.
That's good.
Look, got a bunch of lonely women now just bought tickets for the balcony.
Football teams, is it tough to be a Bengals fan when you're not here in Cincinnati, when you're out traveling talking up the Bengals?
Yeah, every city I go to, man, it's always like if I go to a sports bar, Bengals always got that small TV in the back. It's never like the main one, you know? If you go to Hooters or anything like that, you're like, can I get the Bengals? Like, what? It's way in the back.
I'm going to put you into some controversy, Gary. When they announced Prince Harry and Meghan Markle yesterday, the women all went, and the guys were going, where do you stand on them being all crazy about the royal impending wedding?
Hey, you can't, you don't know who you fall in love with, Although she does have some nice pictures on the internet. Not that I saw. Really? Wow, Prince Harry, I get it. Google that.
Well, do you have
I'm sorry, I was supposed to be on the 6 p.m.
Do you Do you have any advice for a mixed race marriage?
Do I?
Yeah.
Nah, let's do it, baby. That's it.
Just make it work.
We put too much on it, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? I go back to A Bronx Tale. When he gave him great advice. You know, when you're alone in the room with the woman, it's just you and her. You ain't worried about society or nothing else. If she makes you happy, that's you, man.
Literary reference.
And I'm sure Prince Harry has a very nice room in a castle. You know? Every woman looks better in a castle. I don't know why.
Every woman
And
looks
a
better.
$600 coat.
Yeah, you ain't lying. Wow, she came up. Where'd they meet? How do you just meet a prince?
Blind date.
They were introduced, I think they had mutual friends or something like
At
that.
a party? Mm-hmm. Come on.
You got friends that can introduce you to a princess?
Nah, I've never met a princess.
I hope your wife didn't hear that.
What? I've never met a princess.
Your wife's a princess.
No, she's a queen.
Okay.
Boom! Shut down!
Nailed that!
Here's Sarah Blake. Gary,
nailed
thank you. Taft Theater this weekend.
Shouts out to Winton Woods football team. They're the last high school team left in Cincinnati. Going for state on Thursday. Winton Woods Warriors. We're rooting for you, baby. See, I keep up with my roots, man.
There you go.
That was great. Thanks, Gary.